Going on, everybody? It's BDF 44 coming at you with another video. So I'm going to talk Kyrie Irving this morning because Chris Broussard was essentially proposing on his show that he thinks the Nets should go ahead and allow Kyrie to play the road games only. And you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is one of those situations where I'm kind of wondering why I didn't mention this more. It's one of those situations where, for me, looking at how the season's going for the Nets, which is they're still have a good record. They're not doing as bad as the Lakers, but ultimately they still have issues. Antoine Walker was on the same show saying that he didn't believe they could beat the Milwaukee Bucks in a 7-game series if the series were to start right now. Without Kyrie Irving, they couldn't do it. He felt like they couldn't do it with Kyrie either, just because they don't have the type of depth, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't been paying attention to the teams close enough, to be honest with you guys, so I'm not really ready to make a take like that. But what I am saying is this. Half of Kyrie is much better than no Kyrie. And while earlier in the season it might have made sense to try to push in that direction in terms of shutting him down all the way, because for one, you want to apply pressure to him, hopefully to take the vax so he'll be available to his team. And two, you want to see if you could, more or less comply with New York and not kind of, go against what it is that they're essentially saying. In other words, if you allow him to play, if you're the Nets, you're kind of signaling that you agree with his stance, and that's probably not the stance you want to take as an organization. So my thinking was they just decided from that standpoint to just, shut him down and play it that way. But now things are playing out as it is. Now we're looking at trade season. They want to start shopping players, possibly Kyrie, since he's probably the most attractive piece. And he doesn't, teams are afraid to trade for him because they haven't seen him. Now, obviously, that rumor that was released earlier in the year about him being willing to retire if traded, he came out and debunked that entirely, said that was not true at all. And at this point, I'm wondering if it would just make sense for the Nets to say, you know what, let's bring him back. Teams are afraid to trade for him. We can't move him. So it would probably be best to have half a Kyrie better than a full Kyrie. You know what I mean? Like, it might be best to just have half a Kyrie, because if he's playing your road games, at least he's helping your team to that degree. He's not helping anything when he's not out there. Now, another aspect of it, which is very important, is the fact that when you put players, bring players in and out of the lineup, it's really, really bad for the roster. Guys are going in and out of the lineups. That means that players like, Cam Thomas and other players on this team are going to be going in and out of the lineups. Cam could expect to play big minutes at home, but maybe fewer minutes on the road, and it just messes with the game plan. It messes with the Steve Nash's, what he's trying to do. It just ultimately messes with the chemistry. But what you have to understand is that's happening anyway. Players are going in and out of the lineup anyway. Maybe not that frequently, but because of the COVID protocol, you can pencil players in and out of your lineup at random while they still being able physically to go play basketball. They're not hurt. They're just, you know what I mean? So that is already kind of worked into the equation to some degree. I think at the end of the day, another aspect of this for the Nets, and we have to work this into the equation, is the ego factor. They want Kyrie to do what it is they want him to do. And since he's rebelling against what it is that they're asking him to do, they're punishing him by saying, well, we just shut you down all the way. It fits those perfect storms and all those other variables I just said. So we just go shut you down. You don't want to help us, we ain't helping you. And I just think that is also the wrong approach, because you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. This is a Hall of Fame player who is going to help any team he plays for. And if he's on the road, he can help you on the road. And if you have to make the adjustments for him to go in and out of the lineup, yeah, for a whole season, that sucks. But from this point on, it shouldn't suck at all. You should be willing to do that from this point on. It's not a full season left. You got about, what, we're looking at 3/4 this season. So that's a good 20-something games where you were able to manage life without him. You bring him back and you could put yourself in a position to at least be able to have that much of a leg up on your opponents. Now, it doesn't help for home games. It does not help for home games. But again, as you start to get closer to the meat of the season, as more wear and tear starts to take place with those two superstars you got in and James Harden and KD, it would be best, especially since from what I understand James Harden is struggling, it would be best to have Kyrie Irving in the mix so that if for nothing else, you could give Harden a breather. You can give KD a breather, and he can carry some of that heavy load on the road while one of those other stars sit. You're not really afforded that option against decent teams on the road if you're not playing Kyrie. And another aspect of this is very important, is keeping Kyrie in shape. You can't simulate basketball shape. I don't care if he stays in the gym all day, run all day. Until you're out there on the basketball court, you're not going to flare up the right muscles necessary to keep you in the basketball shape. You're just not going to be where you need to be. And when you do have this mandate lifted or what have you, whatever the case may be, you have to then take into account that he's not going to be in shape. Now, if you had him working out with the team and playing in road games, that adjustment doesn't exist, because at least he's getting a good 45 plus games of basketball in his system this season to help your team and to keep himself in shape in theory. Now, of course, injuries could occur and blah, blah. And one could argue that he's probably healthier not playing, given some of the injury issues and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you need him to play for you so that you can do what it is that you need to do to keep ahead of the Eastern Conference. So half of Kyrie's better than no Kyrie. That's the thing. It's not like he's playing with an injury. He's just not able to run based on some stuff that has to do with some things outside of your control and outside of his as well at this point as he sees it. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's time to play Kyrie Irving. If he's willing to go play some road games, and then there should be nothing in the way of him doing that at this point. I think they need to activate him for road games now. I think that would be wise. It'll do a lot of good things for you, including raising his trade value, because what teams will be able to see is him healthy, him running around, him doing all that awesome stuff that only he can do with the basketball. Once they see that, they'll remember why they need to go ahead and make it a priority to acquire him, and they will offer you the type of packages that you feel you deserve for his contract. But you're not going to get that so long as he's out of sight, out of mind, painted as a rebel who doesn't want to get a vax. All of that is not being outweighed by his ability to be awesome on the basketball floor in real time. It's one thing to go back and look at his highlights. I could do that right now and fall right back in love with what he does. But at the end of the day, if I'm not aware that he can do that today, or if I'm thinking he's out of shape, or if I think anything other than him being as he is, then I'm going to bring that value down, and I'm not going to offer you what you feel you deserve, or offer you anything at all. So we know what type of names are out there being floated around. You got Westbrook on the block. You got Ben Simmons on the block. These are real returns that Kyrie Irving can net you, and you're not after that right now because he hasn't been seen, and because his trade value is up in the air based on the fact of that. So, yeah, people are afraid to trade for Kyrie. I don't think they're afraid to trade for Kyrie if they see him in their building lighting their team up. Give that some thought, because if he's only playing road games, guess who's going to see him live and in person? Other GMs, other owners. That's who's getting a look at him in their building. So I think it's a great strategy for them to activate him. I'm with Chris Broussard all the way. Activate Kyrie Irving at this time and find yourself in a situation, in my opinion, where his trade value goes up and or your record goes up. Rest comes for James Harden. I think you get a better James Harden out of this. He'll be fresher in home games. And ultimately, it takes a little pressure off of KD because he doesn't have to put up 51 points to beat teams. So I think it's a win-win-win-win-win for everybody at this point. Activate Kyrie. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.